All right, let's go over a plan of care. A plan of care is really important and is the last 5 minutes that I spend with patients. Let me get this ready. All right, so this is my current plan of care. So this plan of care is what I have come up with after a couple of years of kind of changing things up. But goes over informed consent, risks and benefits of treatment, cooperation with treatment. So I always tell people will let you know what you can go back and tell your best friend. What did we just do here? What I also tell people is this is regular physical therapy. We bill like regular physical therapy. It's reimbursed like regular physical therapy, but it is not like regular physical therapy in the fact that it includes an internal pelvic floor muscle examination, which we just did. I usually write out to the side that we usually do them supine, which they just did. Going forward, I may do a standing assessment because we don't live our life laying on our back, and I may do a rectal assessment as well. No is always a full sentence whenever I want to perform one of these assessments. But the more I can glean from these internal assessments will make more sense as to what you're doing on the outside of your body as you're living your life fully dressed out in the gym and doing everything else besides that 1 hour a week that you're with me. And so I usually write those down right here, and then they can read and they're kind of scrolling along that we're going to, we may use sensors for biofeedback, which I go into more information about that. But that's not where my plan of care is most heavy on. I mostly reside in this treatment areas may include exercises and stretches, nerve glides. I may or may not have you do a bladder diary. It kind of depends on how much you've already done before you come to see me. If you already know that spicy foods aggravates your bladder or bowels, then I may not have you do a bladder diary. But if you don't know why you're not getting better at a certain time, then sometimes it matters what you're doing at the top of the tube for the bottom of the tube. So we do breathing education. I'll usually jot some notes down of the things that I found in my evaluation that can be helpful. Here's biofeedback. I only do external biofeedback now. The sensors were expensive. I was having to pay for them. I didn't want to make people pay $70 for the internal sensors. They never brought them back. And I typically only do them if I suspect that someone may have a hard time with calming down those muscles. So then there's muscle energy techniques, and that's moving those three bones in all the different positions so the muscles will run the right direction. Then there's electrical stimulation. I may do it at your ankle for the tibial nerve. I may do it at your pelvic floor to help those muscles retrain to actually activate correctly. And I usually circle one if I thought that one was indicated at this time. And if it's not, then I just say that. I usually write out the word TTNS or tibial nerve. They can Google things. I do not mind them going and finding more information about themselves as long as it's written down. I don't want them going in la la land looking at everything and anything that could be wrong. But I don't mind them looking at some things that I'm going to introduce them in the next couple weeks. So there's home exercise program and manual therapy. So these are all the things that we're going to be doing because doing pelvic floor physical therapy is unpeeling layers of the onion. So your symptoms may be at the pelvic floor and that's what brought you in, but it's usually this is happening because something up and down the chain isn't behaving. So there is a $25 no-show cancellation fee. I charge this pretty much all the time because I, first of all, still have to pay my staff. I drive an hour to be here. I have 3 kids that I'm paying for daycare so that I can be here. I pray for all of you on my way here. I want people to show up because I want you to get better. And that if you give us a 24-hour heads up, then it can help people get off of our wait list. So I just think that your time is valuable and my time is valuable. And everyone's really upset whenever we charge these $25. But I charge them because I want you to get here and I want you to get better. So with that, I have everyone to try to bring your folder that I'm giving you, honestly, for the first couple of sessions, because each session you come in for the first 3 or 4, I'm going to go over something different and have you a different handout to go over with you. That way you can keep everything together and I remember what I gave you. Because if I forget, then I can just look in your folder and be like, oh, yeah, we already went over this. But typically, people get to see me for 15 to 20 minutes and then another 40 minutes in the gym for exercises with one of our very skilled techs. So during that time, I spend the 15, 20 minutes unpeeling layers of the onion. What happens if we do a standing assessment? What happens if you keep your clothes fully on and we look at your hip or your ribs or your feet? And then the exercises out in the gym will highlight and further propel you with all the manual therapy that we just did. So at your tummy, at your feet, at your neck, there's just so much things that are, everything is connected. I usually see people once a week until they're better. But what I'm going to tell your doctor, what I'm going to write up in the plan of care is once a week for 12 weeks. Those first 4 weeks, and so I usually write this out to the side, we're still trying to figure it out. It's really nice whenever I figure out in the first couple sessions, like, oh, it is that weird toe you have that makes your whole kinetic chain not behave. And sometimes it's the third or fourth session. I'm like, you know what? We actually haven't tried the standing assessment yet, or we haven't done a rectal evaluation yet. Maybe let's see what's happening in the backside of your pelvic floor to help glean some information to find out what's happening whenever you're fully dressed. Then the next 4 weeks, we've already figured out kind of what's going on. And then we try to have these symptoms not come back. So, how can, if it's your hip, how can we help your hip stay in alignment better so that way it'll quit aggravating your bowels or bladder? And then those last month is usually cleaning it up. So making sure that you know all the things to do so that way this never comes back. So that is what the plan of care looks like. I remind them that I sign it first, that I have been here, that so I remind them that I'm PRPT certified and that it is, which is pelvic rehab practitioner certification. I have them print and sign this, and then we scan it into their chart. And then whenever they have questions going forward, I'm like, remember on that first day that we talked about all these different assessments, that we can refer back to this piece of paper, which is still in their folder, and then we'll all be on the same page with each other. Thank you so much. I'm going to quit sharing. And I hope that all made sense for you. And you can use this information going forward with your own plan of care. Thank you.